It's time for Inside the Patch with your Las Vegas Raiders. Here's Gnarley Charley.
Well, welcome back to Inside the Patch for ESPN 1430, your Valley local sports leader. Plus, we want to thank Fresno Rack and Shelving. Nice Rack, always a sponsor. And hey, Brian knows here. Brian, I will tell you, charity poker tournament, Club One Casino. You and I have done that many times.
I'm interested. I'm listening.
November 17th, a Friday night, $100 buy-in, hosted by me, Gnarley Charley. Includes dinner. There's prizes for first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Now, I know for a fact, one of the prizes is an autographed Saints helmet from Derek Carr and an autographed football from Derek Carr, because Derek Carr is a big proponent of Valley Children's Hospital. So, way to Carr up.
Now, would you recommend that the players chase flushes and straights while they're trying to finish in first place and get the Carr memorabilia?
I think, now, my stance on that is you don't. But at a charity poker tournament, you could rebuy up till the first 3 rounds. So I do say chase those flushes and straights early. If you have to rebuy, you rebuy. But remember this, there's a lot of amateur poker players in this tournament. You cannot bluff people if they don't understand what being bluffed is. When you've got a all my cards were red person and thinking they've got a winning hand, you can't bluff them out of a pot. Whoa, I lost? I have all black cards here.
Yeah, well, some are clubs and some are spades.
That's the problem, but they don't realize that.
Got it. Yeah. I like what you're thinking here. It's a little bit like a football game. You know, you come out, you throw the ball like crazy in the first half, and then boom, we're running it in the second half.
Well,
so
it's
you
like
chase the flushes and straights early on, and then you get a little bit, you go southpaw on them in the boxing ring, you know?
It's like when when someone jumps off sides and you get a free play, but they've been blowing that dead a lot lately. That used to be Dan Marino's backing up and throwing as far as he can. He don't care because it's not going to count, Free play. They don't have that.
They have blown it dead a little too quickly at times. They'll let it go, but if there are 12 men on the field on defense, they shut it down. If there's an edge rusher that has a step and, oh my gosh, he might hit the quarterback, they blow it dead. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about those Las Vegas Raiders this week.
Oh, man.
I have a couple things. First off, you've heard of the saying, Lions and Bears, oh my, right? That's like a thing. Well, the Bears ate us, and now we're moving on to the Lions, which makes me think, have you heard of that game? Rock, paper, scissors, obviously. But have you ever played Cowboys, Ninja, what was it? It was Cowboy, Ninja, Bear. Same as rock, paper, scissors. So the bear could kill the ninja, and the ninja could kill the cowboy. So they all meant something, right?
I've never played that before.
It's the same as rock, paper, scissors, but it was more animated. Okay? Same principle, though.
So which regions of the country is that more popular in?
I'm not sure. Now the way you get canceled, you probably can't even do it. You probably can't even, Two of them, one of them's on the Village People. I don't know. Ninjas, Bears, and Cowboys. That's what it was called.
Are you sure that this show will be back for week 9? That's
not at all. No. Well, that brings me to a point here. A Raider's a pirate, right? A Raider could basically take care of a bear if it had a weapon, correct? But the Lions, now we're playing the Lions. They used to feed the Christians to the Lions. But I guess my question for you is, how many mascots are edible in the NFL? Like, people eat lions.
Mascots.
People eat lions.
Mascots are nicknames, right?
Well, eagles. You could eat an eagle. You could eat a lion.
You could eat an eagle.
Can you eat a dolphin? Do people eat dolphins? I've never really heard of it, but I'm sure they do.
It seems like really unethical.
I know. Like, no one eats a killer whale. I've never heard of that.
Or illegal. Is eating dolphin legal?
I really
don't know.
I mean,
you can eat a falcon. I'm pretty sure you can eat a falcon.
Yeah, but that's just feels wrong.
I don't want to get too dark here. You technically could eat a patriot. That's not on the menu, though.
A zombie would eat a patriot in a heartbeat. You could eat a commander then if you're going to go that way. But who wants to eat a brown? Nobody wants to eat a brown.
No one wants that. No one. Nope. Yeah, that's
a Seahawk. You could eat a ram all day long.
Absolutely. Yeah. What else do we have? We've got more people. The Vikings, right?
Yeah, Vikings. They probably did. You know,
Dan Campbell, the Viking, take a bite out of the kneecap.
Okay, and then I think of our networks too. You know, a peacock. I've never heard anybody eat a peacock. Can you eat a peacock?
You know,
that seems wrong.
Never thought about that. I've never heard of anybody doing that.
Right.
Maybe they're just too pretty. Maybe they taste horrible. That's probably what it is.
Right. Well, I was with Adam Carolla. He was talking about, he was at the Playboy Mansion. And he goes, they have these peacocks walking around. Okay. And then he goes outside, he looks up, and this tree is 80 feet tall. And there's a peacock up in the tree. And he goes, I never saw it get up there. Do they even fly? I don't even know. And I looked him up online because I was trying to follow this up. And there's only shots of them kind of falling out of a tree and gliding down with a big old train tail behind them. I've never seen them take off and go. I don't know if they do.
I haven't either. I've seen turkeys that can fly, but for some reason they don't want to, and they're freaked out. Outside of my mom's house, there's a fence, and it was hilarious. So I don't know, last year or something. And there were turkeys on one side of the fence, and there was one turkey on the other side. And he's freaking out. Like he would run up to the fence and then run back and run up to the fence. And he finally just flew over the fence to meet his friends.
You know, I think a lot of dogs don't know that they could jump out of the yard. They don't know it, though. You know.
Sometimes with cats also, you put a little gate there, and they could clearly jump over it, and for some reason they don't.
You know, back to eating mascots, Buffalo Bills, we'd eat them all day long too, right? I'm
still thinking Broncos.
They eat the French
Jaguars,
eat horses.
You ever have Jaguar there, Gnarls?
What about a jet? No one's eating a jet.
I wouldn't advise eating a jet.
Nobody wants to eat a jet. Well,
how about a Bengal? You ever have Bengal?
Well, that's right up Lions. I think Jaguars, Bengals, Lions. I know in Arizona they serve lion tacos, and people were losing their mind over it. But you know, meat's meat, I guess. And that brings us to the Las Vegas Raiders, where they have the all-you-can-eat buffets. I don't feel good about anything about this game. I don't feel good, which means we might actually have a chance because I expect us to get killed. You know,
it's hard to feel good after getting smoked by the Bears, who had Tyson Badgett, who was playing Division II football last year. It's hard to feel good about the next game.
Okay, but think about this. They asked him, how many tickets did he buy? Because he's from that area. 51. What number was Dick Butkus? 51. It was just stuff started lining up, and I was going, oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. And I was like, there it is. I mean, I'm just like, oh.
Who's trading for Hunter Renfrow? Because there's no reason for the Raiders to keep Hunter Renfrow. They don't throw him the ball.
Well, I heard some things today about Hunter Renfrow, and he's trying to take the high road. He always tries to take the high road, but I think he's had it. And everyone's saying that him and Josh do not see eye to eye, and I think that's part of. We talked about Hunter's the way he plays. He knows where he needs to end up, but he's going to take an unconventional route there, and I don't think Josh McDaniels is down with that. I don't think he's cool with that at all. And he'll say no. Like he's real set in his ways. And I'm really having a hard time. I mean, I don't think firing him is the answer. I don't think they're gonna, but if we do fire him, the season's probably over. It's probably over anyway.
I like how you haven't quite said it's over just yet. Like, even though they got smoked by the Bears.
It's the Bears.
Not yet. It's like Gladiator, you know? Well, the end of the movie Gladiator where the guy goes, not yet. Not yet. That's you.
It's mathematical. We're still there. And okay, the USC quarterback, Chandler, right? What?
Caleb Williams.
Why get Chandler Jones is not playing?
I don't know. Close enough.
Caleb Williams. He did mention the Raiders as one of his 4 landing spots he would be down with.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He hasn't crossed them off the list yet, huh?
I think he's seeing the endorsements. It's right. I'm USC and Vegas, not that far. It's very high profile, you know. And
I want to know the list of nope. Not giving you a rose.
Not going. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And honestly, I don't even know where I heard that from. So I can't even tell you. There's so many of these like podcasts where you could tell, they're using AI, it's voices. So somebody typed it wrong. And the voice person is not a real person. And there's little subtle things that you go, wait a minute. No, he's not a tight end. He's a quarterback. You know, little things where you're like, what? Who wrote this? Who did spell check it? You know?
Yeah. I'm not as up on AI as it sounds like a lot of people are. I'm just like, what?
well, Brian, here's the thing about AI. It's great for if you want an idea starter or something. It pulls from all this information. The problem is, just like any new tool or new thing, you have to know how to use it. If you buy a Lamborghini and don't know how to drive it and don't know what it's capable of doing, then you're going to be in first gear and grinding it all the way down the road and not use it to its capability. You know, where I could tell AI, hey, what's a great radio host? And then I can say, hey, well, Gnarley Charley's a great radio host. So now it knows that. And it's going to, whatever he thinks is a great radio host, he's going to put it on me because no one's fact checking. And then I could say, in the style of Rolling Stone, write an article about Brian Noe and Gnarley Charley talking about the Raiders. And in 5 seconds, it's written. Weird.
So how much do you use AI?
At first, I use it to mess around with because I can actually, tell it a bunch of stuff and it remembers, so you can keep a file. And it's great for birthdays and stuff. You could say, let's say it's your girlfriend's birthday coming up, and you give a little information, and then you say, hey, in the style of Dr. Seuss, write a story about me and my girl, and it is done. It's like,
wow.
Just that fast. So it's using the ability, it has the ability to go out and search everything. I have asked it questions before about me. And I said, write a biography about me. It found stuff that I didn't tell it. Now, it could find false things too.
Okay.
So it's not perfect, but if you want to say, hey, write me those, when the guys are on the ships in the Navy, they're called a shanty. They say, yo, ho, or whatever. You could tell, write a sea shanty about the Raiders beating the Lions, and boom, it's done. A limerick, it's done. And so that's where I feel like it's a good thought starter. But a lot of people don't like it because, it's cheating, I guess, or
it could ruin things.
But I think people are using it for, that's why you can have it write a thing and then you can have someone read it, but it's still crap if it's not, you have to check it. You have to know things. You
got to fine tune it.
Well, one thing you taught me a long time ago is we were talking about sports, and I go, what do you know with this, how to say things? And you go, well, you kind of come in with a question and that kind of stirs the pot or causes a big splash in the pool to make people want to say their opinions. You know, but you told me you got to have a take. You have to have an angle, and then you're kind of basically saying, "Well, what do you think?" That's kind of what we do. I mean, we were talking about eating mascots earlier.
I don't know what we do. We just kind of, we get in the car and we don't drive the car. We just hit the gas pedal. And the car goes wherever it goes. And we're like, oh, cool. You want to turn right off this cliff? That's cool. And we just make it work. That's how we do it.
Well, and the thing is, I think about this, you know, like I'm not trying to say I'm Mr. X's and O's, but I am a fan, and I know you're a fan of football, and you know a lot about what's going on. So it's really unique, different things all around football. And nothing's off limits. I mean, we were eating mascots earlier.
We were talking about eating Patriots is what we were talking
Patriots. About. I mean, tastes like chicken. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's I don't know if the Raiders are I'll put it this way. If they're going to have a tasty performance, right? That's what it really boils down to. And it's looking rough right now.
So last year, you were on the show last year, and you were a little more I don't know, positive about the team. And then this year, coming in week 1, I think you said the words dumpster fire. And I was like, wow, what? I don't know how you got your info, how you put that together, but I'm like, we're not gonna be that bad. Oh, we are that bad. And I'm like, where did you come up with that? Just because, was it the Moose? Was it the coach? Was it Chandler Jones? What was it that sent you down that path?
It's just a collection of things. Roster isn't very good. Jimmy Garoppolo isn't that good. Yeah. Jimmy Garoppolo isn't that good and can't stay healthy.
Or throw the ball down the field.
Yeah.
Or what about Marcus Peters? We got that vet, and I think he's done. I don't think he's.
Yeah. It's crazy too, where at least you can look. I would look at it this way. At least you could look at the rate. I don't know if this is a positive. I think it is. You could look at the roster and say, it's not very good.
Right.
Whereas if you're a Chargers fan, I think it's way worse to have a more talented roster and basically the same record. That's way worse.
You're onto something there. Yeah. Yeah.
So embrace the bad roster, and at least you weren't, well, I can't speak for all Raider Nation, but
the few that you know.
Maybe you didn't have false hope, right?
Right.
I'll put it this way. If the Raiders roster was as loaded as the Chargers, the expectations are sky high for Silver and Black fans. But with it not being as talented, you might have hoped for the best, but I don't know that you went to the betting window and put all your assets on that happening. You know, like deep down, you know, the roster isn't as good as it needs to be.
Okay, I have a couple things I want to run by you about should there be rule changes. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Number 1, tush push. Or the quarterback sneak. Where do you stand on that?
I would say no, but they're going to look at it. And it's a safety thing. If some players are getting banged up, like, look, Mahomes got hurt on a quarterback sneak a couple of years ago. It wasn't the brotherly shove, or it wasn't the same thing, but similar. And so if you have the quarterback who's basically the icing in the middle of the Oreo cookie, I don't know that they're going to be cool with that going forward. The one thing, though, is the Eagles are unstoppable. Nobody else is even good at the
you know who hates it? Who plays for the Eagles? Number 62, Kelsey. He says he hates it. He goes, everything is on top of me. He goes, it hurts. He goes, I hate it. He goes, I get smashed every time.
Yeah. I'm surprised I would think as an old lineman, you're like, let's do it. I like the honesty that he said. No,
he
this
was like,
sucks.
I hate it. Well, see, okay. So let's call that the Kelsey thing. Well, now the other Kelsey syndrome, this kind of reminds me of when Brett Favre's father died and he just lit up the Raiders. Well, Travis Kelsey brings Taylor Swift in, rocking the whole league. It's a big deal, but it's National Tight End Day, and he brings his girl, and he breaks, he almost got 200 yards as a tight end.
Yeah, I had an in-game bet on Mr. Travis Kelsey getting to, I want to say, 183. He basically needed 40 receiving yards in the second half when I bet it. And he ended up, I think, 4 yards short. So as awesome as a day as he had, I still needed 4 more yards.
Right. I mean, his fantasy football numbers were crazy. And I ended up playing against him in my league and lost. I mean, I had Mahomes, but this guy had Kelsey and other people. And I was like, oh. But
that's the thing, man, is I don't know how good Caleb Williams is going to be in the NFL.
Right.
But that gives you a legitimate chance to maybe one day in the near future go toe-to-toe with Mahomes and the Chiefs. You've got to have an upper echelon quarterback. And he's at least an upper echelon prospect. Whether he turns out to be the real deal in the NFL, time will tell.
Who knows?
Man, that would be awesome for the Raiders.
Well, I did see a hashtag, free Davante Adams. People are calling for him to be released. And I'm like, I don't care. They're going, he's a Hall of Famer and the Raiders are wrecking him. I'm like, well, first off.
Look, man, he signed with them.
Yeah.
He made it happen. Hostage. He picked them.
He put a Taco Bell in his house and he's living in Vegas. Leave the man alone.
And for these people that are like, well, yeah, he chose the Raiders because he was going to be teammates with Derek Carr. True. But you never know what's going to happen over the lifespan of your NFL contract.
Right.
Goodness. What do you think marriage is?
Yeah.
You know, what you're going to encounter with a marriage, you know? So this idea of, oh, the Raiders, he chose them. He didn't know Derek Carr was not going to be there. Tough. That's how it goes sometimes.
Should have had a prenup that says, as Derek Carr has to stay. He didn't have it. Could have done that.
It's on him.
Yeah, I agree.
Big on prenup. Yeah.
I agree. Well, you know, playing the Lions, I just knew going to the Bear games. I told you this last week. I am scared to death because we should win. I'm scared to death. And now I don't even know where to stand. I think the Lions got their butts handed to them, so they're probably not real happy. You know?
Yeah. Oh man, they got crushed by the Ravens. Lions or Ravens? If you had to eat one of the two, what are you doing?
They're both. They're both. Everyone's better than us. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't even feel like we're a real team. Like I feel like the only time our best play was a yellow flag. Okay, that was our best play, and we had to do some sort of flea flicker madness, and it looks sloppy and it looks like out of control.
By the way, what did you think about Hoyer getting the start over O'Connell?
I didn't like it on the fact that if we give Hoyer more reps, he's not going to be the future. He's old. Yeah. He's done.
Right.
But O'Connell could lose just like Hoyer, but yet he's getting some experience.
Sure.
Because, you know, if we're going to, O'Connell needs the work because Caleb might be knocking on our door. And guess what? If we get Caleb, O'Connell might as well just ask to be traded. You're done.
It's pretty crazy what some of these teams do with rookie quarterbacks. You'll see one performance and they're like, nope,
done.
No. I'm like, and that's not exactly what the Raiders did with O'Connell. It's close when they started Hoyer, but think of the Browns earlier this year. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, a rookie out of UCLA, he gets a start against the Ravens, and they're like, nope, we'll just get PJ Walker. Like, we're not doing this DTR thing. Not yet. Not now.
Not happening.
Last year, the Titans did it with Malik Willis. He started against the Chiefs, started a couple of games, and they're like, nope, we'll sign Joshua Dobbs off the street. That's better than this Malik Willis guy. Some teams are just, they'll give a guy a start, maybe two, and then they're like, nope.
Remember the old days? You were second string for 3 years. You weren't even going to sniff the field. It wasn't even a possibility. And
it's changed a lot, man. Yeah. You look at all three, those top 5 quarterbacks, they started in week 1, man. They were, throw them out there.
The coach of the Miami Dolphins, what's his name?
Mike McDaniel.
Okay, Mike McDaniels and Tua were having a conversation. And apparently, Tua couldn't sleep one night, and so he YouTubed Mike McDaniels. Mm-hmm. And he told him about it. And so now they're on the sideline last week. And he goes, hey, Mike McDaniels goes, hey, I couldn't sleep 3 a.m, so I YouTubed you. And he goes, man, you had 0 skills in high school. He was going, I saw your high school stuff. Yeah. And he was just ripping them apart. He said, you got better, but man, you had nothing. I was like, wow. It was a funny, ribbing honesty between coach and player, though. And I thought that was pretty cool. You know,
he's a funny dude. And it's the thing. They've won enough where a lot of people are like, I like this quirky guy. But if he's losing left and right, they're like, this quirky guy is driving us insane.
There's not one billboard that says fire him in Miami.
Yeah. No, he's doing a good job overall. They just have to show up against the good teams, which they have not yet.
He's just a little man. He just looks so small out there. But
I love his halftime interviews, right? Like just before he's going into the tunnel. He just cracks me up. He's like a kid in the way of they're hilarious and they don't know that they are. I feel like that's Mike McDaniel. I don't think he's trying to be funny.
Right.
He's just answering a question, and it's unintentionally hilarious a lot of the time.
Did you hear Warren Sapp? He's basically called out McDaniel, said he's a horrible coach. He said something about Gruden, but he said something interesting. He goes, you know, Gruden's about to get this thing wrapped up. So basically, if you're believing what Sapp's saying, is that Gruden has something up his sleeve, and he's basically gonna use his leverage to get back in the NFL, probably. Yeah. You know, and he's been watching film, and I'm just saying,
dude, listen to me.
Okay, I'm listening.
Never gonna coach in the NFL again, ever.
What
Never
time is it? Okay, let's date this, because I mean, what you just said, it could be turned into playoffs. Playoffs. That could be a soundbite.
Yeah.
So let me hear that again, Brian. Is Gruden ever going to coach again?
Never again in the NFL. He might coach high school or I don't know, something. Grade
Flag
school.
Football in the Olympics.
That represents the country. Not going to happen there either. Never. No. With those emails being uncovered and some of the things that were involved, never, ever again. Ever.
Okay. Is anyone else I think Gruden's goal is to get more emails released. Is anyone else going to lose their gig for this?
I think if the emails got leaked, it would have happened already. Listen.
Does Goodell survive?
I'll put it this way.
Okay.
What Gruden did, he was speeding, but all these other cars were speeding alongside of him, and he was the guy that got pulled over. I can understand Gruden saying, why just me? Now that makes sense. But to say I shouldn't have gotten a ticket, that's where you lose me. That's a losing argument right there. But it does suck that you're the one guy that got pulled over when many others were doing something wrong too.
But will Gruden ever coach in the NFL again is my question.
Never, ever again. Never.
So you're saying there's not a chance.
So you're telling me there's no chance. That's exactly what I'm telling you. It's zero chance.
Oh, I'm going to use that never for something else someday too. I don't know, but I love it. That was really, that's your new catchphrase. Never.
I'm just thinking about the songs that have never. Like, is it En Vogue? Never gonna get it, never gonna get it. Right?
Never
you know
gonna
that one.
give
There's
Rick Astley
from Metallica. Never. You might know that song as well. There are a lot of songs, but
I'm never gonna give you up.
Yeah.
Never. And of course, you're forgetting about the famous ranch, the Neverland Ranch.
Yeah, that's
I think that's where Peter Pan was from
right
too.
Now. He's the Neverland Ranch of NFL head coaches.
He'll never land in the NFL. All right.
That's right.
All right, Brian, no. We're playing the Lions. Kid Rock's from Detroit. So is Danny. No, I was going to say Isaiah Thomas, but.
So is Eminem from Detroit or outside
I think so.
Detroit?
I think close enough.
Close
yeah.
enough.
I'm sure he's a Lions fan. So.
Yeah. Who else we got from there?
Well, you got most of the Pistons. You got, and then baseball, you got, all the famous Detroit Tigers and Magna P. I used to wear that, so.
Yeah. Huh.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Right next to Canada.
Do you prefer Kid Rock or Eminem's music more?
I'd probably go with Kid Rock. I actually met him, hung out with him for an evening. I'm pretty sure he was on heroin that night, and he doesn't have any memory of it, but it was fun. He high-fived me 48 times, so that was kind of cool.
So what happened that night?
Well, it was right after 9/11, the April after 9/11, and Toby Keith had just been on my show, and Kid Rock showed up. I didn't even know he was dating Pamela Anderson. I barely knew who he was. But he did something, and they thought Toby Keith and I were his bodyguards. And they pushed me and Toby out of the way and said, "Big boy's over here." And Toby goes, I go, "Yeah, big boy, come over here." Well, next thing you know, Toby goes, "Hey, he's coming on the bus. Come on." So we get on the bus, and those guys, they started writing songs. So Toby has that Red, White, and Blue song about going to put a boot in your ass, the American way, He sang that for the first time. And then Kid Rock almost got arrested, but he didn't get arrested. And I go, "Well, let's write a song." And I go, "I got the first lyric." I go, "They didn't arrest me because I'm not Tommy Lee." And he goes, and high-fived me. But I thought he was going to kill me. For a second. But that was
like, leave the songwriting to the professionals here. No, I was like, I like that. Nice,
I was like, oh, so scared. But that was my Kid Rock moment. So
I like it. Not bad at all.
Yeah, so
after 9/11, I was driving out to LA. I moved out to LA for a few years, and I drove through Denver. And I went to Denver Stadium. And I think it was relatively new at that time, I think. And there was no game. It might have been the middle of the week. And I went there with a little Kodak throwaway camera.
Right.
And I was starting to walk in, and there was someone there, and they were like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, is it okay if I just go in, take a few pictures?" And the guy looks at me and he goes, "No."
What?
So, again, it's right after 9/11, so they're just being careful, and no pictures on the inside of.
I don't know if that's a weapon, that the disposable camera.
All right. It's like a Tuesday or a Wednesday. There's no one around. There's just the grounds crew.
Absolutely not. Not even a chance. All right. Well, Brian, I appreciate. We've discussed the mascots we could eat. We discussed how you've discovered the dumpster fire called the Raiders this year, and how you got there. And I'm still not there yet. We got a chance. There's still a mathematical chance, but it's not looking good.
It's really not looking.
Give me a score. Give me a score. Are we
I'll say this: it's looking better for you this season as a Raiders fan than it is for John Gruden to be an NFL head coach again.
But will he ever
happen again?
There it is. Brian, never know, right here. Thank you, Brian. We'll see you next week after we beat the Lions. All right?
Well,
you never know.
I'll catch you next week, Gnarly, and I'll just leave the Lions part out of it. How's that?
I could be lying right now. See? It's a lion. Oh, it's horrible. At least with Christian McCaffrey, it's the Christians versus the Lions. Never mind. We'll see you next week right here on Inside the Patch.
We'll be back with more Inside the Patch on 1430 ESPN, your official home of the Las Vegas Raiders.